Oh,
Yes.
What should I undo the meeting?
yeah, I mean, I always do.
I agree. That's fine. And make sure.
The Carol did say that she was gonna be about 20 minutes late. and
Yeah.
that we
She
can
did say that. She's online now, but she's listening.
Okay, so then, we can go ahead and call this meeting to order. Welcome everyone to, Desert Healthcare District Board Meeting, Board of Directors Meeting Workshop. I don't know what the official title of it is. Can we go ahead and please have roll call?
Director Smith. Here. Director Rogers. Director Perezkiel. Here. Director Logston. Director Delara.
Here.
Vice President Rodriguez.
Here.
President Barraza.
Thank you, and if you can please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item, approval of the agenda. Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Seeing no opposition, we're gonna go ahead and move forward. Next item, D, public comment. At this time, comments from the audience may be made on items not listed in the agenda that are of public interest and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the district. The board has a policy of limiting speakers to no more than 3 minutes. The board cannot take action on items not listed in the agenda. Public input may be offered on agenda items when they come up for discussion and or action. Do we have a public?
We do. Mr. Lowry, would you like to come up here and address the board?
Well, can you please say your name?
Patrick Laurie.
Mm.
Good afternoon. I'm fresh in the city council meeting at Rancho Garage, which should have gone better. And I'm out of context here as well. I know this. Okay, it's gotta get off my chest. Two issues were there, both wrapped around Measure AA. Okay, one where I and the city council person have a lot of debate. One I don't completely understand. But every time Eisenhower comes up as being the place where the Lord lives, it bothers me. Okay. The other aspect of this is that I understand or believe that there is a grant to Eisenhower for psychiatric 190 or 1.9 million that's been stalled here. I know nothing about that and want to learn about a context. Okay. Now, let me get back on track here. You people are wonderful. I'm introducing you to the city council, and I gave them your wonderful catalog. It's a wonderful catalog that teaches me all about you, but you're confusing. You do a lot of things, a lot of activities. A lay person like me who's got a lot of other stuff going on in life finds it hard to grasp all of the essence of this. But Measure AA is right out there in front all of a sudden again, because I am down as a city council person who I don't care if he stubs his toe. But no homonyms, okay? But he doesn't belong where he's at, all right? And he gets in your way, and he gets in my way because I am concerned about the health of my neighbor, okay? And Measure AA, again, is the focal point. All right? That's about all I have to say. You're kind of giving you time. Again, being repetitive. I'm completely out of context. But boy, I'm on it today. Take care. You guys, I appreciate very much. I talk about you and a lot of praise on you.
Thank you. And you are welcome to meet with you again at any time.
Alrighty, thanks. Next item, we have board member comments. Any comments from the board? No? All right, then we're gonna jump into our DEI. Okay.
So we just, let me share. Yeah, we're getting it organized here, but I always like to start by saying how just humbled I am about working with you all and the idea that we can support you in becoming even a better team, have smoother communications, just really understand each other more deeply. I feel honored that you're bestowing upon us. So we really take this seriously. And we're planning to end at 5, just FYI, because of my travel situation. If we need to, carry on a little bit, I might leave you in the wonderful hands of trust. So, so let's kick off. We are still looking at this notion of a culture of inclusion. And I study culture because I find it fascinating. We know that culture really affects our behaviors, and every team has a culture. So if you shape it intentionally, you get what you hope for. And if you don't, sometimes it doesn't turn out that you expect and would hope. It's pretty straightforward set of objectives, strengthening trust. This is basically the same as last time. We're really continuing to build on the solid these elements that we want to make even more solid for you. Improving ability to leverage each other's natural strengths and gaining new insights on how to work together. And I will say it's a very active, move around a lot. We're going to keep you going. So the air conditioning might need to go up a notch or two. It's already pretty warm. Might as well get on that. And that's our agenda. Just checking in. We'll do that in a second. We'll dig deep into these the DISC results again in a very active way. Hopefully that really helps you deepen and also remember some of the insights. We'll take it. Time permitting, we'll just do almost a teaser around productive conflict grounded in DISC. We've done a little bit of work around that with you all in the past, but we want to put it through the DISC lens and also getting continue to look at conflict, a very positive aspect of any team. So checking in, Right, I think in the interest of time, just to start with someone, who go around, does that make sense?
That sounds great.
So we're asking you to take a moment and think about how you're arriving, just settle in, if you close your eyes, even just have a check in with yourself, how am I doing? And just share in 5 words or even less. How you're feeling in this moment. And whoever starts, we'll just go from there, move around. I'll start. I am arriving very hopeful. Yeah.
You could make open to be here or.
Open to be here. Maybe say that.
Similar, open-minded.
I'm with a positive attitude.
Positive attitude, nice.
So I'm driving hot.
Yes.
Hopeful.
I thought they're trying to slow down.
Trying to slow down, okay. Yeah, breathing, being here. Got it.
To absorb.
Mm.
I'm arriving late.
All right.
Good one, Carol.
Glad that staff is involved.
Great. And
I'm trying to focus, we're trying to publish a packet today for the board meeting next week. But I'm content right now. I'm mindful, as some said, and I'm hopeful as well.
Carol, I think you sent it in.
I'm listening to the meeting on my hearing aids.
Okay.
I'm trying to,
That's good, Nate.
because I'm on time delay.
Well, I can remove you from the meeting.
Can you
Oh,
remove
shoot.
me?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
that
let's-
would be great.
let's go ahead and handle that. And how are you arriving besides late?
I'm very hopeful that this can be productive for all of us, that we have a positive outcome.
You kind of did a beautiful summary of what people said. I sure did. Nice to meet them. All right, so.
I'm also
Oh,
arriving
thank you. A
Hopeful.
lot of hope. Yes. This is fantastic. That's the theme. Nice. And that, I mean, that really implies again, this openness and taking the perspective, the positive intent that people are bringing and seeing that first, Some way to begin. So these are our meeting norms from the past that we've had. One is from the board and one is from the staff. So this one is, that's the staff one, yeah. So maybe we start just by reviewing these. Can everybody see them okay? Feel free to get up and move around a little bit. It's really a check to see if you want to add anything or you want to point out something that's working really well or something that isn't working so well. This is where we really think about process and the importance of process and how we work together. So if we're goal oriented, this speaks to how you do the what. Still feel relevant?
There any that really jump out at you as being important for today?
Everything?
You want us to say one? I say mutual respect.
Just going to reinforce some of the ones that come up over here, so we have them even when the slide is gone.
I like empathy. I have empathy for
Yeah.
people and feelings.
We'll be touching on that with the DISC approach, because that should help us have empathy for others. When we we can get all judgmental about, well, why did you behave that way? And what are you doing? If I can understand your motives more deeply, I can slow that down and have some empathy. I may still think you're wrong, but you have a better, way of approaching it. Yeah.
I think also being open-minded.
Mhm. Yeah. Being thoughtful.
thoughtful of what, how you're perceived, how you're approaching things and how your actions are perceived by others.
So thoughtful primarily in terms of the way you show up and.
Yes.
Okay.
Stand in front of you all.
I have an overall observation that from the staff's ways of working, it seems more personal. And really eliminating barriers. I think especially the one that really sticks out to me is not taking things personally and that things are goal focused.
Yeah, and I don't think I did a very good job of summarizing. This is my handwriting, I'm down it. But that goes with the intention, with mindfulness and approaching with positive mindset. That's all kind of a bundle in terms of that.
I think ours as a board was more 30,000 foot.
Right.
Where staff really got into,
Greg, I'm sorry, what was the second one that you mentioned that we could capture up here?
um,
I'm not taking things personally, and then you said a second one that I wanted to capture.
The goal.
Goal focus, yeah.
Goal focus. Thanks, everyone.
I would also add, be curious, ask questions, as part of also being like open-minded, like not, jumping to conclusions, and asking a question just to clarify if there's something we heard that we're not understanding.
Yeah. That's that, healthy detachment piece too, just standing outside a little bit.
That makes me think of let the process do its work. Not jumping ahead, but just making sure like the work that we've been doing these last few months of going to every community, saying the same thing, even though we've heard it before, saying it over, hearing. So letting the process work and not trying to take shortcuts, but letting the process do its work.
That's powerful, yeah. And I'm thinking of it as this process that, we're going through together. It's also just be in the moment to be part of the process, stay with it and in it.
And to have patience.
Patience.
So important, so hard, so important.
It's so slow. I just have to be so slow.
Almost right, TS. I think because I'm good, like you do healthcare, like patience slash patience.
How does that feel? Read it back for yourself.
Wait, can I just add the healthy detachment? I thought, do you all like, because not taking things personally is a version of that. And I don't know, I like that personally because I struggle with that. So I like to reiterate that. What else you all?
I'd like to add two things. I think under mutual respect, you have mutual respect and trust. And then you've got effective and active listening, but yeah, I don't see effective and active communicating.
Oh, so you're filling in the other side for each of those. Thank you.
No,
Yeah.
I just, I didn't see
Yeah, no, you
communication
are.
anywhere. Oh, they're the one, safe environment for open communication, but
Yeah, but we're picking out it's okay to be. I really like that you added the trust to the mutual element. That's what I was trying to say.
dog training, mutual respect and trust.
Yeah.
It's very effective. Having the dog trust you.
Let's talk more about that.
Any others?
Right, well.
We can keep adding them as they come up.
Yeah,
We've got
we
more
can.
space here, so.
And, let's really make them real, like take, as you're engaging today, be really conscious of these commitments you're making to each other and work with them. Okay. And if you feel like someone isn't quite, just feel free to say, hey, what's going on? Something impeding you from being able to be curious. Let me help you out. Okay, going to proceed then.
Let's start.
All right, so we are going to, again, spend some very active time around the DISC model here. Thought you might want to take a look at this with just to remember, who's where and how you all are showing up. And of course, we still have the situation of really The drive pie, piece of pie is somewhat minimal. However, you always want to remember that for each of these dots, you have that heat map. And so if you start to look at the heat maps and also think that this is, it's somewhat reductive as all models have to be. I think you can start to see how there really is, there are people who are supporting in that results and action and challenge domain that may not really appear as easily, when you look at it in this chart form. Influence, I won't go through all those definitions, but just, kind of remind yourself, influence, support, conscientiousness, and also think about from wherever you sit, what you want to be working on and growing as part of this kind of personality approach. Here we have, wait, is that the same one?
That's everybody.
That's everybody.
That's the.
There we go. This is like the whole, right, with the team. So once again, still didn't get any people, deeply in the D category. And there are plenty of folks in the borderlands there in the yellow, right? And the conscientiousness, which is a nice pairing to have conscientiousness with drive. Anything else you'd like to ask about, or any surprises as you look at people's, oh, you might not, can't even recognize the initials.
Yeah.
People don't know.
And then we did green for the board members, so that stands
Yeah,
out
sorry.
a little easier to notice.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
So it's
Yeah.
green for board. Leadership is.
I know, I'm sorry, I didn't do a third color.
No, you didn't. Without this, that looked white up there, so I was like,
Some of these are the staff also.
Correct,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay.
If you go to the slide before, then you could see that just the people that are in the room. That's the people in the room. Well, mostly in the room, aside from some missing members.
My placement was a little different last time. I'm not sure if that made a difference.
I
or not.
tried to make it
Okay.
just like where your report was, so I'm sorry if I didn't. This one I think should match your report a little better where it's located.
Yeah, one SC, not that it matters. It's still within that.
Oh, are you more on the SC? Well,
mhm.
let me move it.
Great.
I think I was more towards the SI, kind of like a little bit closer to the SI. Because I remember I was thinking, oh, I am a collaborator. But I think I'm okay with it.
This is great. This is how you're like owning.
Right, right.
This is.
Hey, wait, tell me, lady, where are you more? Tell me, no, I'm gonna move it
Towards the SI.
towards the SI, and like on the line or what?
I'm sorry.
On the line a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if that works.
A little bit more.
That word?
Into the.
Right.
Did that work?
Yeah.
Oh, it worked. Oh my gosh, I love
Yeah.
it when I can
Wait, no,
make technology cooperate.
Right, so,
But now, hang on, I gotta get us back to, so you can actually drive
oh, right.
the slides, right?
I was just clicking. It's working. So again, this is kind of a language to think about, even in terms of talking about enthusiasm, collaboration, support, stability. Those are things you can bring into your conversations as you're, moving through meetings and work situation.
What I missed.
Everything.
All done.
You're so efficient without you.
Alright.
Cindy, will you try it again? One moment, wow.
We put together the working agreements, how we want to work together between these two. Now we have a mixed group,
Okay, it should work now.
board and leadership, so that's what we were focusing on.
Here's everyone in the room, so you can have that visual, and then there's also, all of you have a piece of paper, I think, that has a version, doesn't have the changes I just made, but
Yeah, but that handout shows that.
I'm sorry, get us back to there. Is that the one where I moved it? That's the one.
It's the one, yeah.
Surprised that Alejandro is up there instead of in blue. Because of the work that you do and the way you present yourself.
Also, yeah, like the influencer, right? Influence.
But also notice that he's not right at the edge of the circle. So if you looked at his shading, you would see that it's quite a lot of S in that mix. Versus somebody that would have
Yeah.
their dot all the way to the edge.
Like me.
Like Greg.
Come on.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts or takeaways from this? We're gonna jump into an activity. There's more to chat about at this level.
I think one of the things we observed when we were looking at just the board members before,
But
there wasn't anybody in the C section.
Right, not fully,
yeah,
not fully. There's a couple folks that are kind of on the line. Yeah, that.
Yeah, like Yvette's right on the line and
And it needs.
Denise is close on the line.
And Anise, so you have an interesting position being so close to the middle, and I'm
Yeah.
wondering, like, I keep thinking. That's, like because you actually, your shading covers all four more than anybody. In fact, you have a lot of B that a lot of others don't have, and it might be a unique position for you to be in.
what is she supposed to
I-
do? That?
Right? Like this, probably the one that has the most.
Yeah,
Like kind of
real
spillover
estate.
in real estate into all four of them. That's an interesting
Yeah.
place to be as a.
I can work well.
But I wonder if that has something to do with the fact that she's so new, that she hasn't had a chance.
She's in the-
We'll see where I end up.
I would say we're gonna change your whole psychology. I don't think so.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if we do this a year later.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
certainly this stays pretty stable, but you could easily make some, differences. It's unlikely people will jump, fully from like C all the way up into, deep I, but there's certainly we evolve. And we interpret things different when we're taking a quiz and all that.
Yeah, depending on what's going on. Generally, people do start to move a little less extreme, right? Because we all do, right? We kind of start to be able to go, you know what, it's not that important, but 10 years ago, man, I would have had flames coming out of my ears. Because, we sort of learn how to be more mature and take a breath. And so I think that isn't a bad goal to,
Right. And how you want to bring
Flex, learn
each
how to
of
flex.
those sort of superpowers forward can look different. Could be very early in your career, whatever. If you're in the D, you could be just too dominating and you're, fighting it all instead of like, how can I add this to make the whole thing work?
You can evolve, right?
And you evolve, you learn.
But one thing, it just occurs to me that with these kind of, I don't know, assessments, there's always like answering like the way you think you should answer and then answering the actual way. Because I remember I changed a few of mine because I'm like, yeah, okay, tell
You
me.
went back and-
It's
as a board member, yeah.
So you gotta be honest with yourself, and it's like, well, and so it's kind of, I feel like that can skew it a little bit, depending on like what mind frame you're coming from.
Do other people feel like that is true as well? Kind of felt like you were navigating like,
I think that's true in any assessment.
yeah.
Right, sure.
I didn't do that in this one. I tried to be as honest as possible, but I think it is true in any assessment. It's like, and I think it's different in this one because we're doing more of the development thing but if you get surveys from an organization,
Mhm.
you kind of know what they want to hear or what they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Or if you do a poll, But I agree
Let
with,
others judge us,
yeah.
where you think other people stand.
Uh-huh.
I think it's also, and you brought up, I do think it's a maturity thing too as well. It's like, as you grow older, you're more analytical of who you are and where you've been more than anything.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that affects your answers on stuff like this.
Yeah, yeah.
You've seen a lot, you start to
Yeah.
pick your battles, all of those things.
And stuff you're dealing with personally in your life at that certain
Right.
moment too.
Yeah,
For sure.
no human behavior surprises me.
So. I remember this movie scene that really speaks to that. If I come up with it, I will share it. It's pretty good. All right, so we are going to jump into some groups. This is with your type. So we're asking you to get into groups. Do we have this up here? No,
No,
we don't, but.
we
okay,
can,
We can.
you can look at your map
Yeah.
though. And roughly, you'll see that you're kind of sitting a bit with people that share your type from Alejandro to Greg. You are the I group, so you can pull your chairs together or scooch together a little bit. Letty and I think all the way to Kimberly, you all are in the S world. And then Donna, Eric and Chris, you are in the C world.
He's being.
That's the land, I know, because I hold the staff members on there too. I know. And then the full slice.
So this is a big group, one group or two?
For discussion purposes.
Make it work. Okay, you kind of. Totally, you can move chairs around.
It's always so great in space. I got roller.
We're gonna be like starting to move around a little, so.
And for about 9 minutes.
I'll say to you, what's been interesting is hearing you say, well, I'm this type and that other person that type, but it's really different. Like, so let that be part of what's interesting too, because you might show up differently, even though you share that same core type. So that will bring up part of why we're doing this. Our team member, wow.
Did it say why?
And so.
So the question.
Oh, yeah, it's okay to get started.
Yeah, go ahead and get started. So the questions are up on the slides to guide you. What resonates and what behaviors do you use that kind of sound like that type? And how does that work for you?
I'm gonna start, Greg. You're really in the ID. You're really, Pearl and I are kind of sort of in the middle.
Okay, so as discussed, like priorities, giving support, maintaining community, enjoying collaboration. Motivated by stable environment. Zero appreciation.
Right. Can
Cooperation.
we go back to the slide that has what the value, with the.
Lots of.
Look at everybody's is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I just. You will notice.
I know where it has their back.
Player, calm approach, good listener.
Oh, backwards one more, where it has just all the people in front.
Dating,
Sorry.
a tendency to avoid change.
One more, go forward.
My ability
Forward.
to challenge.
It also talks about how we.
Two back.
So.
Two back.
That's what us, yeah.
Sometimes if you hold it down, it just
Oh,
keeps.
they held it
You have
down.
to like, it's like getting to know the devices, right? I clicked to tap.
First time it didn't go, then it.
I know.
I'm the.
Yes, I like that.
You don't want to blow on things.
Yeah, that's new. Right.
This is.
Oh my gosh, Alejandro, you're the best.
I've been told.
Write it down, but it's still.
Yeah.
Very.
Put it in our own, same thing.
Very loud. And that.
Logo asks.
Says,
Want another one on that side?
you did here. When you go up, people-
Yeah, two.
but keep on.
Down for some reason. I think-
Right.
open.
Avoid being
But it resonates.
so accommodating to each other. Don't let shared diplomacy keep you from acknowledging real issues. Avoid coming across as overly
Oh, you gotta write
concerned
it down.
and work collaboratively with them. So that's amongst each other. We probably see to be solved. When solving problems with people who are inside, consider the following strategies. Establish a deadline for common trust and find ways to make minor decisions more productive together, or I'll give you the same here. Consider risk and weigh. I remember that. First idea sometimes you. Share your concerns. Not allow for potential problems. When people are tense, consider the following. Take a more spiritual approach and show a desire to work through the conflict. Be aware that your feelings could be more harmful than speaking candidly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was,
Try to switch it back.
and
I'm sorry.
and she said.
Oh, we've a lot of community events, so it's not our first rodeo.
Me, I would say, I would get all excited and say, so let's see what we can do to make it happen. Yeah, so it's the different. Yeah.
That's really to this meeting, but also I think I perceive this as related for Sarah. For Sarah. Yeah.
I can even see it over here.
Let's get things, FaceTime, like your emotion.
Well, that's why we.
Feel very clear on like what the I am action, I mean, what the, all of this stuff. Said that.
Yeah.
It's like, I need to make people this way, you're like, yeah, but we're working on very good, like, it's not a process, it's validating. I know that. No, I'll have to run people that I have is high action.
He is,
Right, yeah, right, and there's been that like, oh my gosh, he's.
Like, okay, so here's.
Right now.
You know, this.
I would say like, you know, you're.
Perfectly.
On the upper
It's
top.
appropriate, so it's don't do this.
But I did, we jumped on it. When did all that, so it was almost impossible. Right. Sorry, go ahead, I don't have something to talk to you. I'm probably not sure. It's a downside. It's like, well, we know you're doing it,
But it's like.
Yeah, collaborative.
Not have confidence. That's possible too. You know, like, there's a way to make it work.
That's a little too much, it's gonna start flowing everywhere. If it starts flowing those things away, then from our activities is going to
Necessarily, like, we're not in the middle of it, like trying to be like bring a resolution or like trying to bring two sides together, you know? This neighbor.
It's about it, well, when the backup is.
Yes.
You're one of the closest.
I like to use that holiday night.
Yeah, I would say if it's not on curves. Already that funny. So that's.
It's like, well, it's all identities, right? New Jersey girl.
Yeah, certainly it's not something like.
Yeah, it's a different kind of experience.
But you know, it's like, it's just my mindset, you know, like, it's, you know, we're doing whatever, we're all us to be all around.
I mean, they set a vision.
Right.
But they don't have a sense to like challenge. But
Yeah.
actually thinking and work that's getting done, the policy that's being made. It's not bad. I don't mind.
Oh, so how do we talk about?
Yeah, I'm gonna like.
It's about critical thinking. It's like, what else can be true? But, you know, what if it doesn't? What are the other ones? What do you try? That's sometimes that's very, what see can be also that. I don't know, help us worry about prioritizing about that. We don't always like it, but it helps us to really think things through. Behavior within your time, what is the behavior?
I was thinking.
Maybe you personally shots, but they got very active.
Observation.
What are those people?
What is the behavior? You know, when you're acting like you're.
Yeah, well, like, but you know, it's about. What we do. Yeah, that's, I think we blame is all something.
That's.
Most of I, very calm.
Most of the time, people on the bottom half of the circle are calmer. They're not, because they're not rushing to take action, it's not as impulsive, so they're. Everyone in the conversation, every, like, there's a little bit of that, sometimes that's. Sometimes it can also be hesitating to collaborate.
I think that if I was just operating as an individual, I would probably look at how do I get myself out of there to be a right. But I'm not saying where I'm at because I know other board members are strong in the area. So we have a lot of stuff that I can function okay, even though I'm not as strong part or in the analytical part. And I think those are just as important because I'm okay with not being strong.
For us, especially, I mean, I'm 704, within it's also having a beauty, like other board members and staff, our leadership that are like, I'm not gonna say that they're polarized or super opposite, but I think that, yeah. I mean, they're really a bit funny for me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I would see perceived, right? Like, not that we would take it on it, but like, are we all seeing them within the same, you know, from the same perspective?
I would have guessed
If it's.
I would have guessed around in there, if you had, you know, been told to us, like, if I had to go and guess, I'd been like, oh, 100%.
I think about that you would have been more on the accuracy and analytical drive the scene. But thinking it's a lot of time, that's what I look to it to hear from what he said, say, I may not agree with it, but it's involving the other state to help all this better. So process is good.
That could be though, that's onboarding behavior, right? Like I saw, I've been doing that a lot in the meetings that I watch, asking almost what I thought were like critical thinking questions, like, if we did this, why, you know, have we looked at it? And I thought I would have guessed the same thing. But that's also a really good way to start, right? Be curious, be critical before learning. Because sometimes if you don't have all that, you know, taking action.
Also, all that. We're gonna talk about record like that, like, so Sterling talking about WhatsApp, like, that bottom line, right, like.
I think that's a key like aspect of the team, which is why it's so good, well, in different places, because you kind of need one person to go, okay. We're going, I'm going, you know, we have done what we need to do, like, we're going. So I think that's good.
Helps you.
Very important step. Okay.
Not too hard, it's a lot more season, right? That is looking. And to come actually with their dreams and their goals, and I'm like, yeah, go for it, whatever. Get their life.
A lot.
You know.
For the shadows.
It's also good to, like, be friendly.
Yeah.
I couldn't come up with this conversation, but I think overall, like, it's. I wanted to persevere with my expenses, right?
Very kind, you told me what to do, well, it still wasn't right, and you're like, it needs to be right, so I felt like that was also a good example of involving that for the organization and the way that, you know, the professionals do with that. Appreciate that. So. Right, well, I mean, I appreciate it in the business sense, even if it's like, doesn't always make me feel great to be like, I didn't do it right, but I wanna do it right, that's, so I think it just depends on the situation.
Yeah.
It's fun, but but the context makes sense.
Similar situation.
Oh. Leadership, that's not just actors, and then expectations by saying, even if we've done it that way before, it's not right, let's do it right. You know, so there's that integrity and the actors that makes it feel more important. It's not just about checking the office. It's about something more.
This will say this directly, but it's implies, so it's how
Right.
it is that.
This is a big role, you know, I think.
things. Sometimes when you take on more responsibility, it's more stressful. Puts you at the edge, or you have to be more discerning, something about that. You don't have a very flexible job. Right? Yeah.
So you just live on a more deadline than any of it.
Yeah, you're quite the CS.
Yeah. So that's why I reckon
Take out the few seconds, wrap up your conversation. Not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're real, but like somebody says that they are.
I'm gonna ask you to turn to your station. What, Right, to channel my D. And channeling my D. So. Where's that?
I know, right? Like, you know, when you step into a type that you're not, it feels awkward sometimes.
Yeah. So just a few takeaways before we move on. How was that conversation?
Good.
Learn what insights perhaps of what gain each other. Really cool
People. I keep hearing like diverse and how you complement each other and things. I'm turning this fan down a little bit.
Yeah, it's so loud.
Or the takeaways or.
It seems that most of us S's are aspiring I's. I think we could pick another, quadrant to work toward, we could go toward I.
Stay by a little bit. It's very intriguing.
I guess, reflecting on feeling enthusiastic about things inside. And maybe trying to bring that out of the room.
Sort of build up others and encourage that.
Which is naturally a support, feeling that but doesn't always translate to how we see it.
Uh-huh, nice. Anything else? The question was, how does just any particular insights that, struck you or struck the team? And you were talking.
As getting along with our.
Sure.
Oh, that would just ask the question.
Yeah, I mean, it's just anything. Yeah, in terms of relating with others who aren't, that could be interesting to share.
I think one of the questions that you asked us was, how do you tell if, you're doing a little bit
Right.
overbearing? Yeah.
And that positive just crosses the line. To take
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, and we get this.
Right,
Slow down.
right.
Slow down.
But we had an example too. It kind of said, well, but to just realize, oh yeah, wait a minute, that is that, that D part, shelf for the good of all,
I shared our example, our meeting this morning. I was like,
We were relating to that.
Really? A meeting. Can you share with the rest of us?
I want me.
okay, yeah, so we were meeting about a concept of a new mobile unit. And, got the quotes, got staffing plan, got everything in line, and we met to discuss it so we can start moving it forward. And, through the conversation, we were like, okay, I'm really gonna have 2 quotes, you gotta do this, you gotta do that, and do that. I was like, oh. And I'm like, let's get it done, but then, obviously,
Yes.
Chris and Eric kind of reeled it back in and said, all right, we have to do this without a message, we have to get a couple of quotes, can't borrow the first one. And for them, it was, and I always share, Eric and I are pretty much on a direct line across from each other. And we always have these conversations of how, I get enthusiastic about a project or something. And then Eric's like, do this, you have to do that, you have to go, make sure we still follow the steps. And You know, it was a clear example this morning of how I was so enthusiastic about it, but they were like, "We have to do this, we have to do that." Cool, then we move forward.
I said this at the end of ours too, but especially the C group. I mean, they have finance backgrounds, and then Donna also does basically grant stuff, so it's all financial stuff too. So they're very analytical,
Yeah,
and very, to your point, Alejandro, it's like, you have to make sure, you know, like, it's all based, you know.
The roots,
Yeah, exactly, so, and I think that,
Challenge you.
What
about this? What
Yeah,
about that? How
exactly.
much this?
and it's not a slam at all, I think it's great, so it's like.
yeah.
Good, really good feedback of things that I hadn't even thought about. And I think that's the beauty of the team. I think we all kind of bring something different to the table. That collectively we're able to, you know, feed off that energy or those different characteristics or personalities. And I think that's where we kind of find that out.
I would expand on that too, because if you look at the staff circles, they're pretty spread out between I, S, and C. And to me, that's a great,
Yes.
a great combination of staff to have.
So from this discussion, it makes me think about what I was, when I first saw that the distribution of where we're at with compared to staff. And I thought staff is very different than where the board members are named. And I thought that's good because they have a job to do. And the roles that we do as board members is different than the roles that we do when we're doing our day job. Okay, so I think that there, sometimes, you know, we may be thinking with our board member hats, that we want to do this. And just the way you, Eric, pulled you in, sometimes you need to pull us in but you need to hear what we're saying. Staff needs to hear what we're saying and then to process that and offer alternatives, offer ideas and to explore them, not shut us down because, you know, we're thinking, you know, I think, we're thinking community, we're thinking, produce, let's get the money out there. And yes, you need to do this, but give us alternative. Well, that's not gonna work, board member Delara, because these are the other things that you wanna consider. So it may not be that this way we go, but this is where they were at and this is where I'm at, and we come up with something alternative that works with the both things. Okay, so that's one of the things that I appreciate exactly what Greg said, is I appreciate where staff is coming from, but that patient of being open-minded, listening, with purpose, communicating, you know, that has to happen. And that has to be that trust to go down this way, even though, you know, we might say things that are interpreted differently, but we have to still say it. And hopefully through the process, we come out with a better outcome at the end.
Nice. It's beautiful. Wonderful. It's a really great way of breaking it down and including all sorts of aspects of what we can find.
But something that came to mind when you said that about like the board hat versus like our daytime. Do you interpret that or that the disc would be different depending on what role the individual is playing in, or is it
Not me.
considered, or is it considered the same? I would think it'd be considered the same,
I think it's.
whether you're in your day or your night.
It's the psychology element.
Right,
So the
right.
Psychology stays with you where
Right.
you are. Now, we can change over time, as we've talked
In
about.
my day job, I'm telling the board no.
Then we can
And
model.
in my, this position, I want
You are the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell them it's no.
No, but do it this way.
But I get what Letty's saying, because I think you utilize different aspects within where we're at on the disc.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a board member versus when I'm at my day job, I'm still in the eye, like there's no tomorrow. I'm both, but it's different on how you're utilizing the characteristics within that, if that
Yes,
makes sense.
Exactly, because, you know, trying to get different things done, you have a different group of people, all that.
I bet if you
It's
did
different.
this disc chart also with the people in your day job or in your other combinations, it shows up differently because of also the other people.
Other people,
Yeah. Might have to lean in a little bit more to something.
I was gonna throw something out, kind of when you were talking about, throwing out an idea and if there's any feedback saying, oh, no, we can't. I think of a couple things just in my work with, Christian as a county manager and just talking about giving direction. It's like, sometimes here's the data that's available and you make a decision. And if there's more data available, that decision could be altered. And so sometimes in the context of a meeting, it might be, hey, here's what if we do this? And it's like, based on that data, it might result in hey, we can't do that because of this one big thing. And I normally don't like to give out a quick response if I can help it, because I want to make sure it's accurate and take it back and then bring it back when I can throw that out. But there will be times if there was an answer looked at that there might be a quick one. And so I would throw out there that concept when we're talking trust, that in some of those situations, trusting that what we say in response might be based on our expertise and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Really helpful, really strong connection to the roles that you play, right? And how you might leverage different ways of being. Successful.
All right, well, I'm gonna mention that you think these results would be different depending on job and with different sets of people. Is that what I mean?
No, the psychology is presumably, I mean, we can change over time a little bit, but this is kind of our personality.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Like
you're
if
gonna
I
take
did-
with you.
If I did the disc thing with the people I work with, it would be different.
That would look different.
Yeah.
I mean, I would,
It's a baseline.
yeah, I mean, I would still be at the same place, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is
Maybe
it
the people around.
exactly?
Right, yeah.
Exactly, I think that's what you.
I'm gonna move us on, I think. Thank you so much for your,
All right, everyone.
yeah, we're gonna move into.
So we're gonna do a more dynamic activity that'll give you the chance just to talk about the concepts within the DISC map. So a little bit different. And we're gonna do this by choosing images. You might have noticed the table full of pictures. And this is an adaptation of an exercise that we do sometimes that uses words and language. I sometimes I find that a little irritating because I think words and language are so cultural that they have different meaning. It's not always the same meaning depending on what your first language is. So I thought images create just more metaphor, more of an opportunity just to choose something that you respond to, and then you get to choose the language about how that comes to life for you. So the idea is that we're going to do 4 short rounds, mixed people, so that we're going to do, like in pairs each time. You'll pair up with a different person, have different conversations. And you're going to also trade your images. So don't get too attached to them. Pick what you like, but don't get too attached. So it should be kind of fun. And then we'll see what the reflection is. But you'll see that we're going to talk about this in a little bit of a different light. Instead of my DISC type, we're going to talk about stepping into the D. What does it take for you to take action and make a decision? So it's more about what that D represents and how you relate to it. So it'll be a little bit of a different slice. Questions about it? I'm just going to invite you to pair up with somebody and kind of spread around the room as you do this, and to choose a different person each of the 4 rounds so that you get the chance to chat with each other. So this very first step is just to browse the images and pick 3. Don't overthink it. Just pick 3 things that appeal to you and your first instinct. It's just going to be fun. This is not anything that's going to have a grade or a judgment or anything. Just there's no right or wrong. Yes. So they're the same. They're just mixed, and they're also cut a little bit differently, but they're the same. And so there's a few duplicates. You might end up with the same image as somebody else. Don't worry about that. But as you're ready, go ahead and stand up. And the first thing is just to go browse 3 images quietly. And then when you're ready, when you have your 3 images, just go stand somewhere. And then somebody else with 3 images is going to join you and see what happens. And then I'll give you the question, the prompt in a minute. But first, get your images.
Looking for it. There's a lot of two classes. Some other people might also love them.
It's just there's one under the cover, so go sleep, yeah.
One back.
You might trade for it. Sorry, I might trade.
No, don't.
So as you're ready, then step away from the table and then create some pairing. Really, you're ready. Why don't you go over and you could start with Eric. He's ready. Chris, is there anybody? Oh, Anise, Chris, maybe you two can go ahead and as you start, then.
We describe how we do.
No, I'll give you a prompt.
Oh, okay.
So maybe the two of you can start, since you both have it. Andrea and Carol, maybe you two can start together. Got some groups together. Okay, you have to be no, you have to be pairing. Oh, wait. But. Wait a little bit, another moment. Oh, does everyone have three? All right. So the prompt is, looking at your images, what in any of them relates to how you approach taking action and getting results in your unique way? Just let that be part of the conversation and see if any of your images have a bit of a metaphor, like I might say, I'm high ID, so I might have chosen one that's like fire, because a lot of times when I have an idea, I just want to go run with it and make it happen. So I need to be cooled down sometimes. For example, that might be how I would do it.
Find a thing.
As you're ready. And if it doesn't say anything, maybe help each other out. Because sometimes metaphors are easier to find than others. And I didn't tell you, but that's what I was going to do. Oh my God. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the river.
It's funny, my son.
And then like the research.
Such a small thing.
It's too big of a. That's more of the.
I think it's strength of my result. So unique, so. Catching the fire.
The outside of the end, right?
Okay, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Just reminds me more. Technology. Sorry, it was not just because it was day one, this right now, there's a lot of new things.
Right. Like if you capture that, hopefully. Bring us along. Yeah.
That area.
Also.
After a while, I guess.
Technology and then half of it.
Yeah, so they got together over time. And then I like having like rock and roll, like.
To like.
It reminds me of how you dress, so kind of cool, like, kind of, oh, like.
So the first one.
It's inspired. Modern Vegas, that's how, that kind of like, it's you.
But I did on this one.
Right.
Related it to, I love to write and I love to read stories. The results here with, really having all the details. Do you have any?
It's like.
For me, that's more spirituality, but.
But like.
I'm not in a related way whatsoever.
Oh, I think so. I also see it as. That's right. Oh, yeah. It's over. They could do that. Yeah. And then I had the,
Mine's microphone.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit of nature comfort. One of my colleagues described that, that's called an open bird. That's introversion.
Yeah.
Flying over the house, like literally.
Let's take a couple more minutes and let's meet more time.
Yeah, I know that's summer. Yeah, one of my characteristics is avoiding.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was saying practice. Like, wanna share with us? That's fun. So it's good.
If you're ready, as you start to wrap up your conversations,
That's why.
all right? I can't. That's so cool.
That's for me, like at the end, I
Right.
zoom out and we're just humans and positive.
Yeah.
Tiny things, big issues and sometimes I change.
Just
Part of the universe. We're all on the same speck of dust together.
And what about the balloons?
I mean, just like the colors. You like the colors? Power, the power of the. Right. Yeah, let's get things done. I'm a letter first.
Okay, everyone, so before we move to the next question, here's the hard part. Trade an image with your conversation partner, trade an image. You can feel it now. So go ahead and trade an image and then get ready for round two. You're gonna keep that new set of images now. And we're gonna talk a little bit about influence, the I part of influence. Looking at your images, is there anything that relates to how you connect and energize other people? The way that I is all about, even if you're not an I, you still have to influence and get people to do things or energize or motivate. How do you do that? And maybe one of your images will have that, maybe not, but find a new person to have this conversation with. So mix it up. Mix it up.
The new person.
If anybody wants to also take a different image from the table, you're not feeling it, feel free, they're fine, you can do whatever you want.
I really take full lot.
Great. Like plays hard.
Yeah.
If you value now now you might find something oh that, right? Like.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, that, and that, to me.
Thanks, Adrian, that was fun. Open that up.
I don't know if I think it's though, that's this to me reminds me of. When
Right.
especially after they
I have brought it up and then I'm like,
Right, that's- Yeah.
And I think that, you know, that. We have to file on the performance and maybe. Your next.
Yeah, I think I do that. It goes back to the eye and the enthusiasm. And I think that's, I mean, I know that, so that's how I do that. And, say that, especially at work. Constantly like here, so I'm gonna be in a idea.
Yeah.
Pushing forward.
Think really hard.
Take just a couple more minutes. And if you're ready, you'll be thinking about the card you're gonna trade.
That's their fun.
What do you want to give up? What are you gonna receive?
Yeah. I think it's a good tool, because like, where you're gonna find the best. There's still plenty of things. Look at, guide out. Yeah. Yeah, because we don't kind of the beginning and really. But our proposal, yeah. 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 They're pretty. Right.
Okay, everyone. Let's wrap up your conversation. Get ready for round 3. But first, trade a card. Like, go ahead and exchange. Give something up, take something new. See what that's like, see what you get. Exchange a card with your conversation partner.
We let each other choose which card.
How cool is that?
So we said, which card do you want?
Offering you the choice.
Oh.
So different ways of approaching things. What might that say about this? So find a new partner. We're gonna talk about support. We're gonna talk about the S in DISC, but first find a new partner.
Okay, we got this, okay.
After you've traded your images, thank your partner. Let's get some new conversations going. And in this, I invite you to think about how
do you create harmony and support your team? How do you do that within your type? How do you create harmony when maybe there's challenges, or how do you offer and provide support? What's your unique way of doing that? Maybe if you find a metaphor, that's always pretty cool. Let's see. It's like liberty, justice. It'd be very hard. Good aspiration, right?
And now they're actually really good. So I'm in this. Because I love to write and I love to research and like going into a situation where you're making an independent decision for new initiatives is like having that research behind it. And to me, that supports teams and developing the right solution. But additionally too, is getting their writing, their research. Right. And I was thinking this one, this is a very complete thing, and so I knew like whether it's up like the speaker, energized, and refreshed, and to me having that attitude. They are very important. I'm working on, so I'm not so like anxious and
Right.
yeah.
Do all that, they have a server. Understand that the hiring it has, I don't know, that's not what I. That's the alternative.
Yeah. I know, every year, I know.
Yeah. Right. So he doesn't have it.
Oh my God, I love that you got that from her. That's exactly what I. That's cool. You even found a metaphor. Very creative.
Waterfall the time, raising down and in. Against the river, under the river. And. They're at the top and then here I am at the bottom, you know.
Yeah.
Pulling
them
Yeah,
into
the
state.
into that's.
I don't know how you.
You know, that was Carol. But, you know, about so and they'll say the ground up, you know, what you want, maybe.
Let's take another minute or so. Wrap up your thought.
We find the map. So.
Or to your point, I'll stand down here.
There you go.
They had like a palette of everything.
You're right. Yep, one more. Attach any of them? Oh, that's no. But it's also like, right? Yes. That's. Totally. Love that.
He's implying.
Trade. As you're ready, yeah, trade again. Go ahead and trade cards. Give something up, get something new. Letting go. Receiving or choosing. It's the same. Exchange a card, you can either choose or you can offer.
I don't like that one at all.
You can offload if you got one that you don't like. You can always trade on the table if you really don't like it. And then as you're ready, find a new partner, find a new chat partner. Last round. Who have you not met with yet? This week might get a little tricky. We'll see the mix. We're gonna work.
All right, you already got it.
We're working. You're gonna break up. Get somebody to break up.
So we're gonna break these two up.
Whatever you want. Go ahead. See how it goes.
Sorry, guys. We're gonna break these up.
What?
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we're.
And the prompt here is, what about quality, accuracy, and thoughtful decision making? What is that like for you? And is there a card that might describe the way that you do that in your type? Because we all have to do that. We all have to pay attention. We all have to be holding to quality, accuracy, thoughtful decision making. Some of us like it more than others. But what's your way? How do you approach it? And is there a card metaphor that might tell that story? Last round.
You know, I am. So much like even always know. And so for me, that always like the work that we do, like it's just. So, okay, you know, and I'm not. No, I was funny. It's slightly, but you know, but you know, like have to sweep away.
We've been looking at the right? So there are things that are small and important.
And you can do accurately. Construction, right?
Yeah, that's my place. And that's our. Yeah.
Rob, but unfortunately, I have to jump for my airplane, but I want to again say how I honor you and I just doing such great work together to build this commitment and this culture that, you know, should help you just continue to be so successful. So see you next time. And of course, we're always available for, you know, conversation. Reach out. Love to stay connected. Thanks for having me. Hope you don't wave subside.
Safe place. This is.
Yeah. Precious, you know, you're saying.
Put our cards back on the table, are we okay?
No, keep your cards, keep them, keep them.
I want my volcano back.
So you all, go ahead and, when you're ready, you can return to your seats, but if you're still chatting, wrap up your chats. So please grab your cards, go back to your seat. Feel free to grab another one too, it's totally okay, because there's still some good ones on there. You like that? Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, you got to get nothing. I just paused it because I got another prompt once you're sitting again. Oh, did you want to see this? But it's okay. About quality, accuracy, and thoughtful decision making. They have to. You probably are. Time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Important, you know.
Yeah, right.
Same thing for one.
Pretty good.
Did you, yeah, keep them. Cat the cat. You do that. I made it known from the beginning. You got rid of, you traded them all, right? All new stuff. Want to get over? Fun to see what people did. You kept them all, kept the dog. Oh, that's a good one too. Huh? Just a different view. The dog, the hammock. Love it. Are we supposed to get other pictures? If you want to, but go ahead and grab your photos, take a seat. Thank you. Thank you. You can't take it back from another person. Unless you work a deal. You can negotiate. So you all, how was that experience in just all of it? Like, what was it like? Any interesting observations, even about the images or trying to find metaphors? Or maybe it was just good to talk. Didn't even matter. Could have done it anyway.
I like to hear from the other person, everyone that I talked to. I learned something from them. Have not learned something. You know, most of the people actually was Alejandro, Eric, and Chris, except Carol at the very end, but 3 people that I very rarely work with that closely. So I got to get to know them a little bit more. And you?
You're looking like, she forgot me. What else? Other reflections on that?
I wish I would have gotten to do one-on-one with more people in the room.
How nice.
To hear about their perceptions.
Life, because sometimes you see them in one light, right? Like one way, and then hearing from them express themselves on why that part resonates with them, and it's like, you know, you get a different perspective of it.
I want my volcano back.
Was that interesting too, right? Even in asking, like, some people held on to some that were favorites. Some people were like, had all new cards. So what was that? That was kind of an interesting experience in letting go, choosing. Some of you offered, some of you wanted to go back to the table to get new ones. Even a lot of difference showed up in that, not only the card that you chose, but the way that you approached that, even though it was playful. There's still some interesting data to that. So you all, what I wanted to do was really just bring us to a final conversation, because I also know that some of you are going to a gala. And so let me grab that. We have a whole, like, so wanted just to have all of you share
something that might have surprised you about this experience today, or something that was interesting. And then one insight about working together. And if there's any new things, I can add it to this chart that we started at the beginning of our session about working together. Some other insights that came up during that really great deep debrief that you all talked about after looking at the map of your disc. There were some cool things that came out there about, you know, listening and challenging and a lot of the things that you were reinforcing. But just to have each person go around and do a bit of a wrap up, and then I'll capture any of your thoughts and give you your evening to move to. Anybody that wants to start, and we'll just go around the table from there.
I'll start with the eye in the room.
Mhm.
I think what I love is that I have a new soul sister.
We found a connection.
Uh-oh, watch out, watch out.
Well, we're very driven, we, you know. we
Yeah.
Have the ideas.
Found a lot of similarities in your personality. Nice. So that surprised you, but what about an insight about from that exercise or from talking?
I didn't realize that she was a driven person. You know, I've never seen that side of Andrea.
Seeing different sides of one another. Yeah.
Like something I think Letty had mentioned at the last one, when I had mentioned what mine was, that in what I do, I have to be, right? I have to be action and results oriented, otherwise we'll.
You never get it.
The show won't
That's
go
right.
on. I'll continue to be behind the curtain. The show won't proceed. No lights, no camera, literally, no act.
Love it.
Love it. How about you, Andrea? Anything surprise you and an insight?
I don't think there were any surprises. Some people I wasn't able to connect with. I guess it just shows, you know, we all have different personalities and we use those in different ways, how we communicate. Right? What did you that surprised you?
I know, like talking about yourself to other people and active was fun today. How about you, Greg?
So I'll go back to what surprised me, in the beginning when we were talking about kind of the ground rules. It's, again, the real in-depth, stuff that staff did, which is what the board did. That was surprising in a good way, not out of whatsoever. I think my insight today, and I think through the exercises, it was, you know, really focused on communication on both exercises. And this has come up as in our governance meetings as well. And so I really like the pairing of that and the ability to really, you know, figure out how you communicate with one another. And not just board members, but also board to staff as well.
I think surprise for me is really about putting us in a situation to actually engage with others. Maybe it's in the insight too. Engage with others in this kind of setting. It's something that we normally don't do. We're not looking at pictures and describing things about how we feel or thoughts about the other person. You know, we're typically always engaged in just our regular work, whether it's staff to staff, staff to board, board to board. So I think it put us in a different mindset. At least it did for me, and put me in a space where I felt that I could feel comfortable and confident with each one here.
As far as what surprised me, normally I'm not a huge fan of exercises where you're pairing up with people, only because it seems like it's either you're trying to pull it back into like, well, let's address the questions, because it's easy to get sidetracked, or it's hard to get traction. Has generally been my experience. With this one today, though, I feel like we could have had more time. Like there was more information there, and it was interesting to see how different people responded to images in a different way in terms of taking things literally or expanding on it or what that reminds, me of or them of and has nothing to do with the picture. So just, different, more time and enjoying the activity, I guess is a surprise. I hope that doesn't come across the wrong way, but I just, I'm thinking more on the accuracy side. It's like, accuracy side, let me get back to what I was doing. And so if it's got a good nexus, it's easy to jump into it. If it's something that takes a little bit to get into it, it's like, there's not the like, let's jump right into it and see it. I think that was one of the situations is, where's this going? And then once you're in it, it's like, got it. Insight about working together, just it's nice to have a different context of things. I've had some interactions with the board outside work, but a lot of them have been more if it was a dinner or an event. And so it's usually not specifically work related. And so it's nice to have an alternative method where it blends both, because you don't necessarily want to only talk about work when you're outside of work, but this gave a good balance of both, I think.
I think the only thing I kind of agree with Greg that the board side was more up there and was not where the staff side seemed a little bit more personal. So that surprised me. And also with the pictures, I was looking more, I was really focusing literally on the pictures and how it kind of why I picked them and why I wanted to hold on to them. Didn't want to give them up. And the ones that I did get were kind of like almost similar to the ones I gave away with reluctance.
Yeah.
And then, but listening to, and then I kept looking at the screen to figure, we're supposed to turn this into work, right? Where Anise kept bringing it back to like, well, when I weigh manage others, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. We're on that. Instead of working together, my CD might be coming out of this one. This was bringing us together and learning and talking to each other, but yet when we go back into the real world, we're kind of not, staff is not really supposed to be directly engaging with individual board members. So there's this kind of not discrepancy, but
Catch 22.
yeah. What was it? Catch 22. Like sometimes if I think of an idea or so I would like just pick up the phone or email. Can't do that. It's not the process supposed to go. Correct. So we have this together, but then kind of getting one idea and then one message and then the other message is hands off. Yeah. So. Thanks. It's real. Is that directing it?
Yeah. Very in keeping with your students. You ready, Kimberly? Yeah, so I enjoyed the whole experience. I enjoyed being able to have a conversation and chat with staff. I recognize that it's not a direct relationship or relationship that we have with them, but it's still good, and I appreciate the exercise because I think it allows us to learn from each other a little bit more. And so when it comes to that like board meeting setting, it's like, I'll remember like maybe a sample that Eric provided or Carol said something, right? And I can like a little bit understand how she views things or how they view things. I guess when we're talking about surprise of the city, it was pretty interesting because the first individual that I did the exercise with, my first partner was Eric, and we had chosen the same image. And just hearing what he had to say about it and how he was interpreting it and how I was interpreting it, that was pretty interesting. And then what's one insight opportunity? I think just overall having to like, I guess, coexist now or be in the same room doing the same activity. I think it was just very helpful. I'm not gonna say that like things are like pressure, but we've been working a lot with, just everything that we've done in the past, 6 months, right? And how everybody's like, I'm not gonna say there's tension or anything, but we've just been producing a lot of work and then just being able to be in the setting, being able to like chat, talk, understand a little bit more about your images, about our like working styles. I think it's providing us an opportunity to like, hey, like we're only humans, right? Like, bigger picture, and I mean that's how I was receiving it. So thank you.
You know, even just sitting like this, it's a lot different, you know, board meeting. and then
We wondered if you were gonna
Here.
think about that.
So I'm focused on the exercises. It was what surprised me is because I don't have a lot of interaction with the board, as Donna said. Just the personalities and finding out things we have in common, learning things about the board, the humanity. That was really great. Insight about working together. When I was talking with staff, I realized that we do know each other pretty well, even though we haven't had those types of conversations. But I'll just say, when talking with Alejandro and his images, and he was explaining what they meant, it's like, yeah, that's you. That's what I've seen. That's what I've heard, and the same with Eric. So that was eye-opening.
Validating, yeah.
Well, I kind of feel how Donna feels, that sometimes it feels like it's all, in this setting, we're all like on the same level, or the same, thing. And sometimes we don't get to do that, because in the meeting, that's like, okay, the board is this way and the staff is that way. I like it more for all of us to be able to be like this. I like this, like, because we interact a little better. And also, it was kind of interesting how a lot of us, what we do it from our heart, Like I had a heart picture, and then I gave it to Will, and then Will gave it to Alejandro. Around the same one. And I was like, it's so interesting how we all look at it the same way, right? That we lead with our heart in everything that we do, and that's important, because when I was small, they used to always tell me, if you do it from the heart, if you do something that you love, you don't look at it as work. You look at it as something that that you like to do or whatever. And that has always resonated with me, like everything I like to do. Well, most of the time, the things that I like to do things that I do with my heart than just because I have to do. And it's kind of interesting to see how a lot of the people here, we have the same ideas.
I don't know that anything surprised me. I thought it was a great exercise. That was really good. I guess one insight. So it's kind of interesting how we pick our pictures. So I think in the majority of my groups, each of us had like some variation of like a peaceful place or somewhere that was like not, part of like the chaos or the, whatever. It was like, this would be like the resting place, and that just kind of made me think like, yeah, we all, we have high pressure, very busy, constantly interacting and doing different things and, in public view often. And so it is important, to realize that sometimes we all need a break of some kind, and we probably all desire that. Maybe we're not taking one as much as we should, but yeah, so I thought that was that was an observation that I thought. And I also really like the hearts. I thought I just want to say that it was appropriate that you ended up with it, especially the way you explained it to me. What you got from it. It's like, wow, like I learned a whole line that I'm now going to use too. From Alejandro based off of that picture, so.
Alejandro, you're gonna have to share with us.
At the nonprofit where I used to work at, I was there for 10 years, and our CEO, Dr. America Bracho, she was one of the pioneers in the whole community health worker movement. So she would always say, and it was our tagline in our emails. She always would say, when we recruit community health workers, we recruit the heart and then we train the brain.
Oh.
He's like, because if you do it backwards, it really doesn't work. You can get the smartest person in the world, but if you don't have the heart to do the work that we do, you're not going to have the same outcomes. If you recruit somebody that has the heart, has the passion, and then you could provide, training, more more support, and then that blossoms into a great community health worker, so.
Thank you. Is that kind of tagline of Visione Compromiso's conferences they have too, from the heart?
Yeah, well, the CEO of Visione Compa, they're like partners in some of them, yeah.
You want to keep going and then we could just finish with Director De Laura?
Yeah, so that's why, I kept, the heart and, the questions, and I teamwork. What surprised me is that we hardly had anybody in the D room. And I think that speaks to the harmony that we have. I think as an agency, I don't think there is, a board member or, a staff member that is really hardline. But that. you
No
don't feel
toe
that-
steppers?
Exactly, or that you feel that they're not, approachable, or that they're not considerate. So I think that was what surprised me, that we were scattered everywhere, but not in the center of the D. I think that's very telling of, the culture that we have. I think, we all kind of have different hats that we wear, but I think at the end of the day, we all have the same mission. That was part of it. And then, I think I echo everybody else's sentiment, where I think in a setting where we interact with the board, it's more like, hey, how was your day? Or, hey, very it's small talk. And I think now, like, interacting with different board members, I think you're able to kind of get a little bit more insight of who they are, what drives them, and, Letty and I connected on, peaceful images, where, I said, we get so busy that sometimes we forget to take a break. Right. And for me, it was like, that's why I selected the first 3 images were very serene, quiet places, because that's what I do when I get home. I try to decompress, because I'm around people all day. Right. And then it's just like decompress and then, recharge.
The surprise would probably be that we all, that earth thing, that earth picture that was going on. I think that resonates the way I perceive you all after talking to you and through so many of these sessions that we've gone through, is that we're all leading through that human experience. That we all come in with our own our own experiences, but we all connect with that. So I think that is one of the reasons why, even though we don't agree and we've had some friction, but it's momentary. We are all committed to work together. And that's the other part of that, the insight about working together, is that I see everybody is really actively listening and actively communicating. I know when I was doing the exercise, I was like, really? I was asking questions. I found myself asking questions because it was a need to connect so that we could figure out how to continue to work together. We talked about the strategic plan, recognizing that we're at a very monumental place that we're approaching, and knowing that that's going to change things on how we produce and how we communicate and all that, recognizing that that point is coming up, and just the need that we have to do better with communicating. We have to do better in ensuring that we question, but respectfully, that we challenge, but with purpose. So all of these things, I see that's what I see the interaction, that we're all actively learning, listening to learn, to be able to do better.
Thank you. So with that, you all, I offer you the evening so that you can go and have dinner. Some of you going to a gala. We are penciling right now, April 16th. So I hope that looks like right now that does work. It's the week before your board meeting. We didn't want to do it the same week as the board meeting. We thought that would not be very nice to you, but we want to have the full team here as well. So we're going to do another kind of a like physical move around interactive, because I think that you all enjoy that. I think there's just continuing the getting to know one another, but it will do something different. Won't be
So you won't be bored. It'll be something. And then we also, Sindri and I wanted to bring in what we call productive conflict as a topic and how to build upon that and relate that back to DISC. So those are some of the ideas. If any of you have other ideas or things that you might want to see in April, we're going to be working with Chris on what that will look like. But we also thought it would be fun to do something like had the idea that since we can't do drinks, but we could maybe have agua frescas or something kind of fun. I don't know. So if you think of anything that could work as a fun way
Why
to
can't we-
have a celebration after. Oh, well then. Not to say you could have a little flask, but that, however that might work. Oh, Director Logston, thank you for being here. When anybody wanted to just, I hope you were able to hear that.
I heard everything. I heard everything you said.
What
So-
do you think, just from listening and coming in and taking all that in?
I mean, I think it's a pretty cool thing to do for an elected board and staff to have these very intimate, sit down kind of personal conversations, because it really helps to get to know. I mean, the last session we had was pretty effective with the DISC profiles, getting to know people more, but I'm excited to come to the next one and, get to do some more kind of intimate interactions that we don't always get to do being a public board with the staff and with the other members as much as we would like to. So I'm really looking forward to it. I love the comments that everybody said. I think I would probably echo those had I been there. So awesome session.
Thanks, Director Logston. Also keep in mind that as the only DISC D in the group, that might be an interesting thing to chat with you about next time.
Yeah, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, you know what I do for a living, so there is a dominant side of me that has to be there. But yeah, that's good. I'll definitely probably change I'll bring a different energy for sure.
Thank you, and if you can please stay on. Rita.
Yes, okay, yes, I'm sorry. If you have more business to do, then thank you all. I'll stop the share, yes.
So Chris brought to my attention, something that he'd like fit the agenda. If we can we still modify the agenda and not fix the agenda?
Sure, I haven't been published online.
For today though, to discuss
Today's
today.
agenda?
That's a Betsy Brown app.
No, we haven't put that in.
Urgency,
Oh,
staff come in.
That's what it is the direction that Jeff indicated would be okay. And what it is, we're getting ready to close escrow on the land lease property that we own where the 51 condos are. And the board did authorize for the CEO to sign and execute the closing documents, et cetera. Where it actually got to signing, realized that, okay, my legal name is Dana. And so we need to have an actual resolution that's executed that authorizes Dana Christensen to sign and execute those documents. So it's about a name change as a board resolution that allows Dana versus Chris.
So the direction would be for you to do that resolution for the next board meeting, correct? Or no?
Well, it's hopefully going to close escrow tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So it would be direction to authorize staff to execute the resolution with Dana versus Chris.
So we have to have a motion first to add it to the agenda, recognizing that the time is of an essence here. And then the second item be if it is approved by the majority, I think it's I think it's higher than a majority. But if it's unanimous, then that would address that. The second item would be the actual item. So I will move to add this item to the agenda based on the urgency of the matter and the fact that this is something that has been going on and that should be addressed. So I will move that forward to add it to the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposition? Okay, so then.
I would move approval for staff to change the name to Dana Christensen for the close of escrow.
I will second it.
Okay. Do we need roll call for that?
Probably because it's a financial.
So Director Smith,
Yes.
Director Rogers.
Yes.
Director Perezville,
Yes.
Director Logston,
Yes.
Secretary Delara,
Yes.
Vice President Rodriguez.
Yes.
President Morocco.
Yes. Thank you for that. Any closing comments from board members?
Thank you to our facilitators.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you, then we'll go ahead and call this meeting adjourned, 5:26.
I just-
I'm gonna go to the governor.